Jioni njema mpenzi mtazamaji wa Daffy Update kutoka sehemu yoyote ambao unanitazama ukiwa. Hii hapa inahusu pakubwa watu ambao wako nje ya taifa na ni kubaya. Hujambo na karibu kwa mara nyingine mpenzi mtazamaji, ni kupashe kile ambacho kimeweza kujitokeza siku ya leo. Mazungumzo ya deportation ni kati ya topic ambayo kila siku utasikia kitajwa hapa na pale, kwa kwamba kuna mambo mapya ambayo yanazidi kuchipuka kila siku, kila kukicha. Kila saa utasikia kuna kitu ambacho kimefanyika, kuna mtu fulani amekuwa deported, kuna watu eneo fulani wamefumaniwa, na pale Marekani ndio umekuwa mtindo. Yani ndio imekuwa ni kama jambo la kawaida pale. Today watu wengi wametaka kujua, now that something happened in the United States, is it going to change in any way mambo ya deportation? The first question is, what is this something ambayo nasema ilifanyika in the United States? I'll be revealing to you that in a short, but stories of deportation zimekuwa, some of them have been very painful stories, others zimekuwa ni stories ambazo hadi wewe ukisikia unaona ni kweli this person should be deported. But currently the most talked about story ya deportation is about the Somalis who are in the United States. Trump is very angry at them and he has declared that every single one of them ambaye yuko pale na hafai kuwa pale, ama anafaa kuwa pale lakini haingiani na jinsi ambavyo Marekani wanataka. He doesn't want those people there. For example, there is this lady who should akona kila kitu, akona documents, but because of how she has been talking about the United States, about the constitution ya Marekani, Trump has said that a person like that, who even though she has all the documentation, a person like that should be deported na arudishwe kwao. These stories zimeleta hisia mseto. There are a lot of people who believe that what the US government is doing is okay, and there are other many people who believe that maybe there is a better way to do it. Now, recently, the president of Kenya, William Samoei Ruto, went to the United States and made a number of deals. A number of agreements were signed, and a lot of Kenyans would want to know, because there is this tension of deportation ambao bado iko pale na inazungumziwa sana. The president's visit to the United States, does it change anything ikifika ni deportation, for example, ya Wakenya? You know, Kenyans are everywhere mtazamaji wangu. We have been talking about Kenyans. Naleta stories zingine napata za Wakenya ambao wako even in the oddest places, mahali ambapo hata uwezi ukatarajia. Now, pale Marekani, there are a lot of Kenyans. Wakenya ni wengi sana wamejaa. I've seen them, I've talked to some of them, and also as much as kuna Wakenya wengi sana, there is also a very big number of Kenyans who are there, and unfortunately wako pale, let me say, illegally, and we don't blame them for that. Hatuwezi tukawa blame. We know there are more than 1,000 reasons that would make a Kenyan atoke kwao hapa Kenya na amuye hapana, wacha niende nikawe mkimbizi taifa lingine. Yes, Kenya is home, Kenya ni home, but the reasons that can push one to move from hapa Kenya ni nyingi sana. There is a Kenyan ambaye yuko pale Marekani. Yes, anajua yeye ni illegal immigrant, anajua kwamba yuko any moment anaweza shtukia amekuwa deported, but still anazidi kujipanga pale, because anajua it is still better maybe than being brought back to your home country. Your home country probably is pengine worse. There are people who feel that way, and I'm not saying that that's how it is, but to some people that's how it feels. And also you should understand that there are people who feel like Kenya is the best, and were it not for circumstances they would come back to Kenya na waishi hapa Kenya. There are also people who feel that way. So ladies and gentlemen, in this particular video I'll be giving you something ambayo imetajwa na dada moja, and it is believed there are also some deals ambazo ziliweza kuwa signed pale America, and these deals will help us understand or maybe get an idea of what's now going to happen to Kenyans who are in America, those ambao wako pale legally, those who are there illegally, and those planning to go to America maybe for different reasons. You know, there's a lot of things ambazo zimekuwa zikisema recently about third world countries, migration ya kwenda Marekani kusemekana kwamba inaenda kuwa post permanently, like mambo tu ya deportation yamekuwa too much, ni mengi sana, and I would really like us to talk about this and get to understand mahali ambapo hii story inaenda. So if this is a video, if you are a person who like to understand maybe stories za Wakenya ambao wako nje, if you are planning on going out of the country soon, and if you just want to know how mataifa yanarana ama yanaendelea, this is a very good video for you to watch, and I'd like you to stay with me to the end, na sitapoteza muda wako. And so ndivyo tuingie rasmi katika matangazo ya leo. I would like to request that you do one thing for me. If this is the first time watching a video from this channel, this is Duffy Updates, your number one channel ambayo inakuletea matangazo ya siasa as soon as yanatokea. You can join us today by following 3 simple steps. Step number 1, please click the subscribe button under this video. You are going to see it, just the word subscribe, tap there, and you'll have joined Duffy Updates, and you'll have supported Duffy Updates in a very big way. Secondly, click the like button so that this video can be recommended to more people. And lastly, click the notification icon on so that any other time we upload a new video, YouTube will always automatically notify you that to make a video mpya. So I believe that I've made all the store, nimekujulisha everything that I wanted to show you about the joining us. And with those few remarks, I would like to share my screen with you ili uweze kutazama. Now, I mentioned about the story for Somalis. I want to tell you about this short let me say paragraph ya story about a Somali Kenyan. This is a Somali who was born in Kenya and ended up migrating to the USA way back in 2009. And the Somali American has gone ahead and explained how hard it was for them to settle in this particular area. Now, main representative Mana Abdi recalls early immigrant struggles in Kansas. I'll tell you why I'm telling you about this in a few. So, the first Somali American in Maine's legislature shared in a July interview how her family settled in Kansas City before moving to Lewiston in 2009, calling daily surprises as intense learning curve. Born in Kenya and alive in the US, young Abdi aimed to highlight immigrant challenges. Critics called her ungrateful, urging a return to Somalia and decrying her words about their home state. While the clip drew heated divides over gratitude for American opportunities. So what happened is, now we have a Somali here who has been born in Kenya, and somehow because of different plans ambazo Mungu ameweka, he finds himself in the United States in the city of Maine, and while there he grows up there, and during the process of growing up he undergoes a number of challenges, and these challenges get to a level where it's very difficult and hard for this person, and it gets to a place where he feels like this is an intense learning curve. Every day there is something new to learn, to undergo, to survive, and it gets to a level where the guy even starts complaining, aki-highlight challenges ambazo immigrant wanapitia, even telling the truth to other people who have been there for all the while. Anawaambia your place pengine these challenges are not good, they're making it maybe hard for immigrants to adapt and settle down. Critics, we know, hawa ni watu ambao pengine wanataka tu kushambulia maoni yako. They go ahead and advise Mana Abdi to, if America is so bad, then just go back to your country. So critics called her ungrateful. They say that she is ungrateful. They urge her to return to Somalia, and as this clip was going viral, it starts creating divide over gratitude of American opportunities. Yani watu wanashindwa, is this person really appreciating our constitution au amekuja hapa tu kuchamba serikali yetu? And if anaichamba, then why is she here? Shouldn't she just go back to her home country? There is this person called Ras Nawara who has said these words. I said it before, I'm saying it again. One day someone will look at Kenya and say, here lies, lie, here lie the ruins of a country destroyed by greed. So a number of things are happening. The story about William Samoei Ruto and how he is managing the Republic of Kenya has been met or have been infiltrated by a lot of let me say bad reviews of bad governance. Ruto has been accused a number of times kwamba he is somehow overseeing the downfall of this country na kwamba hapeleki Kenya vizuri, au ni kati ya maoni ya watu. And for example, this type of person anaeleza kwamba alisema mbeleni na atasema tena, siku moja watu watatazama na wataangalia na wataweza kuona mabaki ya kitu ambacho kilikuwa kinatambulika Kenya. This means that according to this individual, haamini kwamba Ruto is taking the country to the right direction in all aspects, politically, financially, politically, economically, and all the aspects. Anaamini kwamba the country is headed to the bad direction. All right. I told you that William Samoei Ruto was in America a few days ago. And as you can see in this particular message, on behalf of the government and the people of the Republic of Kenya, I extend my profound gratitude to President real Donald Trump and the government of the United States for the generous hospitality accorded to our delegation in Washington, D.C. President Ruto, I've mentioned kuhusu mambo ya deportation, about some few stories about people who are there. But now I want you to come to the other side of the story. President Ruto went to the USA a few days ago to witness the signing of a peace agreement between Rwanda and DRC. Our engagements were not only productive, they equally marked a watershed moment in the long strategic friendships between the two nations. So these are the words by President William Samoei Ruto. First of all, thanking real Donald Trump for the hospitality that they have been showed in the United States. Secondly, recognizing that they have had arrangements, engagements, and the friendship between the two nations is expected to continue, even becoming more friendship. Kenya sincerely appreciates the clarity of purpose, the spirit of cooperation, and the readiness of President Trump's administration to forge a bold and mutual beneficial course for the future. So Kenya recognizes that Trump is really trying to bring peace and they are ready to work together. And as that is happening, we know that the president of Kenya signed a number of deals. So deal number one, in health, we welcome the renewed partnership to strengthen disease surveillance, expand primary health care, and accelerate access to cutting-edge medical technologies. And these commitments will save lives, uplift communities, and accelerate Kenyans' journey towards universal health coverage. Those are the words of Ruto anazidi kuzungumza. So he acknowledges that in health they have made a number of deals which are supposed to expand primary health care, also accelerate access to cutting-edge medical technologies, and he believes that this is going to uplift communities and accelerate Kenya's journey towards universal health coverage. Another thing that the president signed is in trade and investment. So I am encouraged by the decisive steps we are taking to unlock new value chains, expand market access, support African manufacturing, and create jobs for our young people. The United States' willingness to invest in Kenya's digital economy, infrastructure, and green transitional signals a new era of shared prosperity. So Ruto there also mentions that they did something on trade, and you might wonder, why am I telling you all this? I want you to see. So they made a deal on health, in trade and investment, and also in peace and security. I commend the United States' steadfast support and resolve for stability across the Horn of Africa and the Great Lakes region. Our discussion on counter-terrorism, maritime security, and conflict resolution were encouraging we are encouraging and reaffirm that when Kenya and the United States act together, the region becomes more secure, stable, and prosperous. So that is in peace and security. And lastly, in Kenyans value, the president writes something very different. It's like a acknowledgement message. Kenyans values President Trump's personal leadership and the renewed momentum he has brought to our bilateral relationship. We are committed to translating the commitments made in Washington into a real deal, into real deal impact for our citizens, and to expanding this partnership into one of the most consequential and impactful on the continent. So, ladies and gentlemen, the president saying all of these things shows a very different picture of the relationship between Kenya and the USA. It shows a very different picture between Ruto and Donald Trump. Few months ago, Kenya speculated and claimed that Ruto will not be able to look eye to eye with Trump because they stand for totally different things. On one side, we have William Samoei Ruto, who is even up to this point accused of going against the constitution by maybe finishing Gen Zs during protest, abducting most of them, and just those type of things. On the other side, we have the United States, which is in the front line, trying to make peace in different countries, and most importantly, we know the US does not somehow work together with like our skizani na China. And immediately after Trump got into power, Ruto, who had been in the US for a state visit, took safari na kwenda China and did a state visit there for 3 days. Now, wengi wanauliza, has Ruto's trip to USA in any way changed mambo ya immigration? There is something I want you to know. William Ruto's latest high-profile trip to the United States, where he met President Donald Trump, a meeting that has triggered huge reactions both in Kenya and in the diaspora. And the reason for this is on why is this visit such a big deal? What exactly did they discuss? And most importantly, will this visit change anything for Kenyans currently facing deportation in America? So I will be telling you a bit on Kenyans who are already facing deportation. Maybe they have already been caught. Kenyans who know they have everything but are still there. Like, what will now happen? We go to the background why this trip matters. So, President Ruto shared a message thanking President Trump and the US government. The message nimeweza kukusomea. The meeting comes at a time when, number one, many Kenyans are being deported from the US for immigration violations. Number two, Trump's administration is known for its strict immigration stance. And number three, and a common belief online has been Trump will never listen to Kenya, but we saw that changing. But despite the criticism online, Ruto traveled to Washington under President Trump's invitation and secured agreements touching on security, trade, and investment, a bilateral cooperation. Now, the big question is, will this trip affect deportations? That's the answer you want to know. William Ruto's trip stop the deportation of Kenyans. Okay, the honest answer is not directly. It's not a yes or no answer, but not directly. And here is why. Number one, deportation is a legal matter, not a political negotiation. The US immigration laws remains the same. Even with strong bilateral ties, the American government does not stop deportations because of diplomatic friendship. If someone overstayed their visa, broke immigration rules, or committed a crime, the law proceeds. Haijalishi iwapo our countries zinasikiza. If you went against our rules, we are still going to deport you. Okay, reason number two of how this might work is might not work, or let me say, reason number two why the trip might not affect directly mambo ya deportation is Trump administration is historically strict. During Trump's first term, immigration enforcement increased significantly, and even now, his administration continues to prioritize deportations of undocumented migrants from all countries. Kenya is one of those countries. Haiwezi tu ikaekwa nje because wamesikizana. Haya. Another thing, Kenya-US cooperation can improve, but rules don't change. The trip may improve the relationship between the two governments, but immigration enforcement is handled by institutions like ICE and DHS, not by presidential visits. There is something though that the trip can indirectly change. Number one, it can create faster consular assistance for detained Kenyans. If you are caught when illegal immigrant, you can mambo yako yatakuwa processed haraka because you are from a country ambayo pengine we have good relationship with. The way you will be treated is not the same way an illegal immigrant kutoka Somalia atakuwa treated, because let me say Somalia na Marekani hawasikizani. So when a Somali umeshikwa pale, you won't be treated somehow kind of the same way with how a Kenyan illegal immigrant atakuwa treated. Another thing that might happen is more legal migration options. You might have more options than an illegal immigrant from maybe a country ambayo hawasikizani na America. There might also be better treatment during deportation procedures. You can be treated better during that process, just like the way nimekujulisha an illegal immigrant from a country like Tanzania, Somalia ambayo currently hawasikizani, amtakuwa treated the same way. So the final question that I can, the final thing I can say is President Ruto's visit to America is a big diplomatic win for Kenyans, but it does not automatically stop deportations. The US immigration system is strict and independent, so you still have to make sure that you are there legally, kuwa rada, kuwa na everything that unafaa kuwa nayo, and at the end of the day you are going to be, utakuwa vizuri. So thank you for watching this video. I'll meet you in the next one. Bye bye.